Welcome to Wednesday Night League, brought to you by the Military Disc Golf Tour.
What's up, everybody? Want to welcome back for Wednesday Night League. It's been a fun week. Military Disc Golf Tour guys back in the house. Bobby, what is up, bro?
Not much, man. Living the dream.
Yeah, another round a week or another week of fucking league.
Yeah.
And everybody knows these
All
are a
right.
struggle. All right, first things first. Let's go over some military results from the weekend. So, a couple of guys coming out of the European theater shooting hot. We got Justin Bentley out in Belgium, Parc de Brandon, which is going to be hosting the Europe Tour next weekend. Taking down MA1 with a 947 average. Pretty good for a MA1 guy. Definitely something we like to hear. The big result from the weekend, Philip Tyler Belt, who's kind of our overseas boy. If anybody knows who he is or watched him throw, that dude puts on a fucking clinic anytime. He was at EPTX Tremonia Open in Germany, tied for 6th, which had an extremely strong field. Like, you got Jerome Braun, who played Disc Golf Pro Tour last year, Timo Hartman, another mainstay over there in Europe, going to the European Championships. He ended up averaging a 996.
Yeah.
Which we would all be really happy to shoot that in one round, and he's averaging it. And I know if we got him on the show tonight, he would be a little angry about that. But that's Philip.
I look at 900 rated rounds as a win for me.
So those are always a win. Like anything, like I'm just happy that they're there for the most part. Like,
right.
It happens.
It makes me smile seeing them on my PDGA page. Oh, 900 rated.
Yay! I don't suck, right? How did your weekly tag round go though out there in Okie?
It kind of threw everybody off because there was no wind, and I apparently forgot how to putt for the entire round. And OB was my favorite. I was there quite a few times. It was great, man. I think hot round was like 5 under par. So, which out here we played one of the longer layouts, so that's good. 5 under par for a long layout for here is really good.
That's pretty dope, man.
How about you?
What'd you
get into this weekend?
Oh, Camp Humphreys League Saturday morning. Always a good time playing through that pile of trees. Anybody that's never played Camp Humphreys knows that like it's just trees and there's no designated lines. So you got to get creative. Like, you're scrambling off the tee and it's like, why am I here? But we had 9 guys show up. League round, there was a 4-way tie for second place. Yeah. And I think from our sanctioned league, I think with the 1-unders, all of them shot, it would have been like a 916 rated round for them. So trying to do tiebreakers for that was definitely interesting for the most part. But that was a good time. Let's get into OTB Open. That one was definitely interesting for the most part. I got to watch Daddy. Dude, Emmer Daddy coming in out of nowhere. They had to hand down the trophy to Emmer Daddy. But no, that was good to see. The really cool thing about OTB Open, for anybody that was watching the live coverage, like at the end, the entire Lone Star team was on the 18th green to congratulate him. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Lone Star's first Disc Golf Pro Tour win as a company.
I think it is.
And it came from old Emmer Daddy, Emerson Keith, man. I remember watching him up in Utah at Worlds. That was always a good time to watch.
You and I were talking about it earlier. Like, I really like the team aspect that they're building over there at Lone Star. You brought that up earlier, and that is a great point. Like,
oh, it's a family over there.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. And like, this has been something that's been floating through my mind, and I think it'd be really cool to see, like, for like the Pro Tour and stuff like that, is team standings. Team Discraft, like scoring points throughout the year, like do like F1, right? You have a constructors championship, a drivers championship, and everything like that. let's do a manufacturers championship for Disc Golf Pro Tour. Top
That'd be
4,
kind of
top
cool,
5
actually.
actually score points for the season. Not only that, but now you're talking about companies actually wanting players, willing to shell out more money for players.
Well, I don't think Discraft has a problem shelling out money.
They
But
don't. They really, really don't. They're just shelling it out left and right, and it always makes me
yeah,
giggle.
I
But
I would be curious to know who has spent the least amount of money on their team and where they would place, because Prodigy to me has a bunch of younger players that I don't think they spend much money on that just win tournaments, like
I would
Gannon,
agree with that.
Isaac,
I
like
would
just
really like to
killing it.
see Isaac's numbers, like what he's actually getting paid for this, but they're performing. Gannon's performing too.
Yeah,
And we all know the drama that goes down with Gannon, but that actually came to an end this week. Gannon is staying with Prodigy for at least for the rest of the season. So maybe they finally did some good. I don't know. I can't really say much. I didn't really see much of that, but that is what it
yeah.
is.
I just know that like he has a really good relationship with Prodigy, and I think a big paycheck got laid in front of him, and it kind of skewed his judgment of where his loyalty lied. Because his loyalty's been with Prodigy for how many years?
He's
So
been with them for a hot minute.
he has.
I don't know. Prodigy's paying hush money to players now. What's going on? Like, why? I don't know. I'm curious to see where this goes. I know we're not going to hear anything about this. I know Gannon's going to sit there and, be the spokesman that he is, be that person that, do
All
what
right,
he's
well, let
getting.
me ask you this: how surprised are you going to be if he resigns with Prodigy next year over another company? And what is that going to take from Prodigy? Is it going to take a
Couple
lot of?
million
Is it
bucks,
going to
hands
take a lot of?
down. It,
Like,
it
is it going to take a lot of money, or
it's
is
gonna
he
be
just?
another $1 million contract. Like, how are you not paying him that kid that much?
Prodigy's known to not shell out that kind of money. KJ is what their most paid player, and that's we don't know details, but I mean I'm assuming KJ is their most paid.
Yeah, no, nobody's seen the numbers for that one, but to be honest, like that's a safe assumption.
And where does
But
he finish every week?
I just think it's even funnier. Paji in the lawsuit says if Gannon leaves, we're not going to have any star power. Isaac wouldn't hold my beer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
literally, he was like, "Hold my fucking beer." I'm like, all right, bro, we'll make that work. But that was pretty good. Anything else out of OTB that you saw, or anything cool like in the disc golf discussion groups, everything like that?
So I saw
Besides people ripping on MGGT for you know production value crap, because that one always gets me ruffled.
no, I actually saw a funny stat on Statmando come across my phone earlier that without Kristen Tatar in the field, Paige Pierce has a 48% chance to win. But with Kristen Tatar, it drops to 14%. I thought that was a funny stat.
Oh, she's just sitting there. Like you can see her in the off season. Like everybody starts chirping, like, "Oh, the American women are gonna come." Da da da. Kristen's sitting over there in Estonia, going, "Oh, I go to America." Just waiting
Yeah.
for her chance to fucking end everybody's life. She honestly though, like, if you ever get a chance to meet her in person, one of the like sweetest, like nicest people you could ever meet. Like I got to meet her up at Toonie last year. Both
Oh,
her
really?
and Silver are
Oh,
legit. I actually had a couple like got to talk to Silver for like a good 10-15 minutes at Toonie, like just about random discs and everything like that. Totally cool dude. But yeah,
nice.
she'll sit there, like talk autographs, like talk to you for a little bit, everything. Super nice lady. I would anybody that ever gets a chance to like talk to her, like high five, go do it, man.
All right, let's be real. What disc golfer have you met that's a complete asshole?
I'm not gonna say on here.
Okay.
There's
But
no
there's not many.
there's not many
Most of them are cool, like as cool as can be.
and the ones that I tell you have been kind of dicks, you would be completely surprised about.
Probably not. We can talk about that later though.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that offline because I don't want I don't want to fight any more people in the comments. It's never a fun time. But what else? You got anything else going on? Or should we jump into our guest for the night?
Let's do it, man. Bring them on.
All right. We are going to get our guest for the night, a actually relatively predominant military guy in the disc golf world. Few people know he's actually military, but we got old Trenton Cadwell. How you doing, boss?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Well, welcome to the podcast. So, you want to do us a quick favor? Give us a little introduction about yourself.
Yeah, well, after that stellar introduction that I've gotten, my name is Trenton Cadwell. I've been in the Navy for a little over 12 years now. I've been playing disc golf since about 2015 when I was stationed out in San Diego. Currently, I'm in the process of, in the middle of PCSing to Virginia. So I've had to step down a lot here, but since I've been in Indiana recruiting, you're looking at the vice president of a club, that kind of club out here. We've put 4 different courses in the process of putting a 5th one in. Disc golf is something that started out as a hungover, we should go do this idea in San Diego, and it's turned into 8 years later, here I am now. So definitely can't complain about where it's taken me and the people I've met along the way.
Where, dude, that's actually really cool. I didn't know you had 4 courses in the ground in Indiana.
That's awesome.
We have, so when we first started, because my friend, he owns Boylan Acres, Steve Boylan, local Indiana disc golf legend. He wants to be the first person with over 100 wins and 300 sanctioned events thrown. I think he's going to be getting there, not anytime soon, but he's going to get there. He's pretty adamant about it. 68 acres of land. It started off as an 18-hole course, and now it's 2 18-hole courses. And then we're in the middle of putting in a like putter-friendly course too, so a 3rd course. I'm not sure if you guys have access to a Disc Golfers Monthly magazine from a couple of years ago, but one of the courses that I worked on was actually in that. We took that down for environmental reasons to essentially save the trees. For as often as everyone hits them, they were dying, and the parks were not happy about it. So we took that out, put another course in. Just in the last 2 years, we put 2 courses in. We're putting the baskets in for a 3rd right now, and then I guess the 4th one was the first one essentially was 2 years ago. So I've been busy with that. Also, if you guys are interested in putting courses in, it's free volunteer hours for your MOVSM ribbon. If you guys haven't gotten that already, just a heads up.
Oh,
Yeah,
trust me.
unfortunately for Marines, we need LOAs for that, and not anybody signs off on those. So
trust me.
That's weird, because the person who signed off on mine was a prior enlisted Marine. We deployed together in 2011. Didn't even know about it until we met up again in 2018 when I came to Indiana. He was in the same strike group as me, and we threw tournaments for a Veterans Memorial Wall down in Johnson County, Indiana. And with my month-long dedication of helping them out with that, he actually wrote me an LOA and signed off on it and sent it up to me. So
that's pretty
I don't
awesome.
want to say, you just have shitty people hanging out with you.
I will not confirm nor deny that.
Oh, trust me. I'm in the middle of trying to get a course installed here at Karensan, and it's like pulling teeth. The bureaucracy is stupid. Like,
run strong out there.
Oh, and it doesn't help when the commander of the squadron that you need to get signed off on it just got relieved of command, so it just makes it even better.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that was some drama in the smoke pit that weekend.
Oh man.
But dude, that's legit. Like, I know, like, always with us, like, we're always on the road, we're always moving, going left, right, up, down. We don't even know where we are, but like getting to a club, getting established, becoming a VP, especially like not even in a military club, it's a civilian club. So like to make those kinds of connections and like get in there and like get things done, that's huge. But the other thing you got wrapped up into, and I'm not even sure how this happened, you got wrapped up into a company called Dark Ace Apparel. You want to elaborate a little bit on that? Because Dark Ace and the military disc golf tour go hand in hand right now.
Well, I did find out that Dark Ace is a huge proprietor on the military disc golf tour, just because before I even really got into it, they were a huge proprietor for just all military, everything like that. They everybody loves everybody essentially. So Dark Ace Disc Golf is a apparel company based out of St. Louis, and its slogan is "Play disc golf, listen to metal." We may have um, some products that people don't like. We may have products that people can't get enough of, but at the end of the day, we're still making, in my mind, a positive boom in throughout the disc golf area, the community as a whole. George, the owner, is one of the most genuine guys you'll ever meet. Um, but before I get into what more Dark Ace does, I will. It was a complete accident that we met. I met him at Am World last year when they were. It was in Evansville, Indiana, which is about a 3 hour drive down for me. So I was like, oh, I'll go play in that nonchalant major for me. Well, yeah, I'll go do that. Whatever, it's fine. Um, yeah, yeah. I didn't do too well, but at the same time, I had a good time, and obviously, I met a lot of good people along the way. But um, one of our friends in our local club is actually from St. Louis. And we used to always give him a hard time because we would do something and then his direct response would be, well, in St. Louis we did it this way, well, in St. Louis we did it that way, to the point where I've never been to St. Louis and I already hate the place because I'm just, not even that they do things wrong, they just, I was like, I'm just tired of hearing about St. Louis. But then so he introduced me to a couple of his friends from out there, and they introduced me to their friends, and then at the end of the day we ended up meeting up with George. And it was love at first. Hey, I bet you won't put a crop top on and go play this ace race. And I said, absolutely, yes, I will. So then here I am at Bossy Field walking around with the Dark Ace Hannah Win crop top, which I think now that was the first time that they were released. I think we've released like 4 different colors since then. And I'm like, didn't expect that to be a hot commodity, to the point where fast forward to Ledgestone last year, and then I'm walking around with it again at the block party, and Yuli looked at me and goes, "That's awesome." I took it off. I go, "Here you go." Um, I'm not sure how I didn't get escorted out of that party.
That's like the theme
yeah,
for anybody Dark Ace related. Like, we just don't give a shit. It's like, oh, that's a cool
yeah,
shirt. Yeah, just take it, dude. But to like
yeah.
the fact that you're willing to give your shirt to somebody like off your back, I'm sure you know this. And I gotta remember, Dark Ace was donating like a crap ton of money to homeless,
Mhm.
not homeless, but food
Food
banks.
shelters.
Like,
Yep.
yes, when like very from the very first get-go, and I remember seeing that, like, for my OG zip up hoodie, I'm like, yo, I want in on this. And I unfortunately I've been on, I say unfortunately, but I've been dragging the flag ever since. Like, it's been a crazy story. But let's go back to Ledgestone, because this just sounds like it's gonna be a great fucking story.
um, well, initially he walked by and said, "I love that," and I didn't and I was getting, to not to sound as not modest as possible. I was getting way too many compliments on how damn good I looked. Um, so I just saw that it was just another random person. Turned around and it was Yuli, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Um, so we ended up having, fast forward. I'm pretty sure he gave it to Sarah. I'm pretty sure the future Mrs. Yuli owns it now, just because at least, yeah. If Yuli's walking around the house, Sarah, let us know. We can get you one too. Um, but I just remember we ended up going to, like, that was the day that those crop tops released. And I just remember we had a party at a bar. It was the first ever Dark Ace like meetup, like official meetup. And I just remember we were just passing them out at the bar, like people that didn't even know what it was. Like, there was a mom and 2 daughters at the bar, and they're just like, "Oh, we want them. What does it mean?" We're just like, "We'll just we'll give you one first. Then if you still want it, you can keep it." But there was at one point, he is the Indiana disc golf liaison essentially for the PDGA. His name's Jason Labella, good friend of mine, a great guy. He runs a winter fundraiser series out of here in Indiana. So if you guys are ever in Indiana for the winter time, they run a what we call whiffs. There's charity XC tiers, and all of it go to the local food banks or homeless shelters or stuff like that. I want to say we've raised on average about 25,000 a year since I've been here, and there's usually about 30, 40 events per year. So um, we're gonna backtrack on that, but we got him, and he's not a small fella. We ran out of larges, and I told him we have extra larges, and he goes, "Nope, medium." So we had the director of the PDGA for Indiana disc golf walking around in what looked like a Dark Ace sports bra. But the best part was
Yes.
he couldn't get his polo that he was wearing a Ledgestone polo because he's also one of the directors of Ledgestone. He was wearing it, but he couldn't get it over his head, so he's walking around the bar like this, stuck. And then I'm like, for anybody that's old enough, the cornholio from it was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
See, this is why they don't let us
it was-
military people out in public anymore, is because we do dumb shit like that. We force other
Yes.
people
Well,
to do dumb shit just to
the
touch
best
them.
part. The best part, they're like, "Oh my god, how drunk were you?" I go, "Oh, he walked right into the bar sober as a judge," and he immediately was like, "I was like, we have extra larges." He looked at me dead in the eye, and goes, "Medium." I'm like, "Okay."
You win here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So going kind of back onto the Dark Ace thing, I've known about them. I've had a couple of their shirts. Just thought that it was a smaller company. Um, and then I ended up being offered a job as the director of social media right after AM Worlds. So fast forward to, I want to say, probably a week or two after AM Worlds, I got hired. And then about 6 months into doing that, more so I realized, I talked to George and I was like, "Hey, recruiting is a very, very long hour, a day, week, month, year job. Um, I can't do anything. I don't know how the Marines did it because they're in the office at 7 o'clock in the morning. They don't leave until 10 o'clock at night. We usually get there around 8 or 9. We don't leave until 7 or 8. The Air Force just has a sticky note on the door that says call for appointment, and they just don't show up.
No,
They're
they
too
showed
busy.
like at the end of the month once. That was about it.
Yeah,
It's easy when
we,
everybody wants in your branch. Just saying.
yeah. When you Google easiest branch to join, and it's just an Air Force banner, I can't argue those results. And that's not even a dig on you. That's just, like I said, my sister's in the Air Force. She's about to commission, and I told her I'm not saluting her, not even if there's a fire. But another shameless plug, since I know you're wearing the hat right now, she graduated from Purdue University, so boiler up. Not everyone had to go to school in Columbus, and for that, we're grateful. But
Very much
OH.
so.
OH.
oh no.
Oh yeah.
Just stop with that.
But-
Just stop.
so I realized, I'm like, hey, I can't do this. I can, but we wanted quality and quantity, and it just wasn't plausible for me to be. He's like, hey, I need this by this time, and this isn't a dig on George, great guy. He just wanted a lot of things that I couldn't give him. Not that I didn't want to. It was just physically impossible, especially before daylight savings. I'm waking up when it's dark outside. I'm getting home when it's dark outside. I don't have time to do anything outside in terms of content creating. So I kind of told him, he's like, all right, well, I still want you involved. So that's how we got to making I don't want to say it was a compromise. George told me, you're doing this, and then asked me if it was okay afterwards. And I go, I don't think at this point I have a choice, which my choice would have been yes, regardless. So George, if you're watching this, I'm not dogging on you. He's like, hey, how about we just make you captain of the street team? Okay, cool. How many people are we putting on it? As many as we want. Well, we had over 450 people apply for that. So as many as we want, 450 people. I'm just like, that's a lot. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna choose 25% of that. And he said, perfect. That's plenty. And he almost wanted to do to the sense of like the guerrilla tactics, like what Lone Star is doing, where every 2 days you're going to see someone say, I'm on Team Lone Star now, which isn't a bad thing either. Great marketing tactic, right?
That
But yeah, and they opened it back up too, so they're continuing to do that, and what they're doing is great. But I was like, okay, so we'll pick all these people, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And it's actually kind of ironic that I was like, I am too busy to be doing the social media thing for Dark Dark Ace because my foot hit the Instagram was going off crazy, the Twitter was going crazy, the TikTok was going crazy, the Facebook before George's Facebook got hacked was going crazy. He created a new one and now it's going crazy again. My phone goes off more now from the street team members asking me questions than it did ever while I was organizing the entire social media. So I'm just busy for a different reason, but I absolutely love it. We got a great group of guys, and like we were saying earlier, a majority of the proceeds go towards homeless shelters and food banks in the St. Louis area. Um, and we are more adamant on everyone at Dark Ace, and I can say everyone because I've met all 4 people that work for them. Um, Everyone would give you the shirt off of their back. Everyone would, if they saw you on the side of the road and they knew that they were going to go back to a restaurant, they would ask you what you would want and bring it to you on the side of the road, um, or just something along those lines. And it's scary from the outside, depending on how you look at it, but it is one of the most humble and greatest communities that I've been fortunate enough to say that I'm a part of.
It's awesome.
It's funny that you bring up like the whole scary thing. Do you guys remember the first commercial that you guys had for Disc Golf Pro Tour?
With the basket sacrifice?
Yes. I remember watching the
Yeah.
comments for it. I'm like, these guys have no idea what this company really is.
Yeah.
That made my morning ritual that much more interesting, to say the least. I was like, come on, do you guys even know who these people are? Like, are you just taking them at face value? Because
It's usually face value.
I'm sure, like, being a metalhead, you know the band Ghost, right?
Yes.
How much of their performances and everything they do is just theatrics?
Well, you look at the video for like not the like the YouTube clips put together video, but the regular video for Dance Macabre.
Yeah, same thing.
It's a theater performance.
And
And I remember I saw a meme about it, but it was absolutely hilarious. I went to go see a Fit for a King about 2 months ago,
mhm,
and Alpha Wolf opened for him. And I just remember, like, usually like, oh, metal shows, they just mosh and they're gonna beat you up and this and that, and you're just gonna get hurt. And I want to say, like, after every third song or something, they're like, make sure to drink water and stay safe in terms of the pit. I'm like, no one would know that. It's like because they take the scary music and the screaming attitudes and the weird clothes and the tattoos
mhm.
as just something that they already deem as scary. I can't tell you how many times a day I get looked at and they're like, "Oh God, you worship the devil," and I'm like, "Well, I actually don't, but thanks for judging me."
Right?
Just because I have tattoos all over the place, like, how about you learn to get to know us as a company or someone as a whole before? But that's also the world we live in now, where you're going to automatically see someone in the Navy and make assumptions. You're going to see someone in the Marines and ask them why they don't have crayons. You're going to see someone in the Air Force, ask them what their favorite hotel meal was for that week. So it's just something that it just comes with standards that were set years and years and years ago, where now, like, they just expect every metal show some guy's going to chew a bat's head off. Not the case.
Not the case at all. Like, nobody's seeing
Not the
like bands literally stop in the middle of performance because somebody fell and got hit in the fucking pit. Like,
Yep.
I've seen that type of stuff happen before, but like that even just speaks about disc golf community as general. It wasn't that long ago that we were all recognized or like perceived as a bunch of pot smoking hippies.
Yeah.
And those were probably some of the most least judgmental, welcoming individuals the world's ever seen. Like, nobody cared. It's like, oh, hey, you like throwing a frisbee? I like throwing a frisbee. We should probably do that together and have fun.
Yeah.
Same thing in the military. Like, how many times have you PCS to a new base and just made friends because you bonded over something dumb and like kind of irrelevant for the most part?
I have a
100%.
lot of stupid hobbies that people would be like, "Oh, that's dumb." But you had that one person over there on the other side of the mess decks that hear you talking about it, and all of a sudden, boom, you guys are doing whatever you guys both like that weekend or after work, depending on what time you get out of work.
And like that, it's crazy how that stuff happens. And I don't know if it speaks towards the world today or what the hell's going on. It's just like, bro, like take the fucking ego out of this shit and just go talk to somebody. Go actually figure out what they're about. 9 times out of 10, they're probably chill as hell. Like, if you ever worked with the foreign military dudes, we're
Oh yeah.
all pretty much the same. I just want to go to work, get paid, and drink beer on Friday night. I can't tell you how many times I've done partying with the Polish Air Force. Don't speak Polish at all. But they're like, hey, you drink beer? I'm like, yeah. They're like, come to this bar at this time. I'm like, word. Don't remember what happened the rest of the night, but I can tell you it was a good time.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to do a rim pack exercise in 2016
Ooh.
when I was on the USS America. So I
Can
remember
we
if
clue in the high functioning alcoholic branch, please?
which one?
Well, the Air Force, unfortunately.
I don't know if that's really high functioning.
Yeah, you're just an alcoholic because you're not you don't have to work, so you just
Correction, Air Force maintainers. We put the fun in functioning alcoholics.
I put
Fair
the
enough.
FU in fun. So,
Got him.
so have you ever seen the movie? This is an awful representation,
Yes.
but it is a representation.
Exactly where you're
nonetheless.
going with this.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Battleship,
Yeah.
where Rihanna is in it?
Yeah,
That's essentially Rim Pack. So we play fake war with a bunch of different countries that we're allies with, and just do war exercises out in the middle of the
Okay,
ocean.
so it's like
with
our
a
red
bunch of
flag.
companies.
Yeah. I did it in 2010, I think.
So we if you ever go to Hawaii, there's this bar called Nashville's, and it's a country bar. Really fun time. I'm usually there every single time that I'm there. Shameless plug, I'd assume. But the Australians were there with us,
That's a bad time.
and
Well,
we did
it's a great time, but I can tell you, I
well.
already know where this is going.
Ooh.
The Australians and the Kiwis, the New Zealand Navy was with us too. But I just remember one of them walking up to me, and I'm not going to be insensitive and try to copy their accent, so just insert Australian accent here. Do you know how to drink? I've done it once or twice today. Yeah. Do you ever do a shoey? If you guys don't know, so I was like, I don't know what that is, and they're like, oh, it's when you. I guess for those of you that are watching and don't know what a shoey is, it's when you put your drink in your shoe and then drink it out of the shoe. I didn't have shoes on. I was wearing sandals. And they're like, it's okay. And they took it, karate chopped it hot dog style, and folded it in half. And they said, pour it down that. And I also will say that the only reason I was okay with this is I had these sandals for not even kidding 20 minutes because my other ones got lost in the. We went cliff diving in Hawaii earlier that day on the North Shore. So I was like, that's fine. These are brand new. I'll do that all day. Which is funny because yesterday was the first time I've worn those exact sandals since this happened. So 7 years later, they still smell like Vegas bomb, but it's fine. But I just remember doing a couple of them, and they called me a legend. And then I do remember one of the guys I worked with who always worked down in the engineering spaces. He had these old beat to hell ASICs that looked like they were one wrong step away on a curb from just exploding. They were just that old and gross. And he did a shoey out of that, and he got the championship belt that day, but um, not for good reason. And I will say not for good reason. But yeah, you would have no idea. Moral of this story: you'd have no idea that other branches of the military from different countries are just like you, and it's crazy because you're always going to be working with them in some aspect where they get, oh, you're from Australia, but you do this too. Like it's the same world. You just don't really want to. You just don't know exactly the similarities that you guys all have.
Same thing with disc golf. Like
Yeah.
I'm over here in Okinawa, Japan, and I play disc golf with the Okinawan locals, and it's the same thing. Like, oh, you disc golf? Oh, me too. And immediately you're best friends. Like did we just become best friends? Yep. And that's the way it works.
Pretty much. It was the same thing here in Korea when I played the Daegu tournament a couple weeks ago. It was like, I don't speak Korean, but I throw frisbees halfway decent. And that's all it took.
That and Google Translate.
Oh, that's a lifesaver. That's hands down a
Yes.
life. Like, I'm trying not to be a dick. I'm trying to learn some Korean. That shit's hard.
Yeah. Google Translate is my friend here.
For sure. Well, Trenton, I appreciate you coming on. So we got a new segment coming up called Let's Get Alex Fired Up.
Yes.
Bobby, do you want to hang out for this or you got to go this morning? I know it's 7 a.m. your time and I have yet to see a beer in your hand, so I'm kind of concerned.
I drank them all last night, in all
Ah.
honesty. And actually, if I wasn't having issues with setting all this up again, because like I said, I'm in the middle of PCSing. You can't tell exactly. Everything behind me is just an absolute mess. So I actually had to look for my laptop, look for my microphone, look for like I stream, and I'm like, this shouldn't be hard. It should be in one box. How is everything in 5 different boxes? I need 4 things. They're in 5 different boxes. Make me believe, like, make that make sense. But no, I am good. I'm good to hear you get fired up, and then I promise you, I'll send you a picture once we get done. I'm gonna go to the liquor store, and I'm on leave, so like I said yesterday, I don't care. I'm
That-
going to do
That
whatever.
explains that really crappy mustache you have.
I just haven't shaved in a week, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
But first thing, congratulations on succeeding on recruiting duty, because
thank you.
that itself is a fucking nightmare. I barely survived. But anyways, all right, let's get Alex fired up. I have a few topics here. I'm gonna pick one of them. Let's see, what do we got? All
This
right,
better be good. You've been teasing me all week about this crap.
I really have. I'm so excited. You have no idea. All right, Disc Golf Pro Tour. They're considered professionals. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but professional and disc golf can mean a lot of different things.
Disc Golf Pro Tour only is what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Should rangefinders be illegal?
No, why? Like, why?
They're professionals. Why do they need rangefinders?
Why would you not give your professionals every tool they could possibly have to perform?
They're professionals. Why do they need those tools?
Okay, so what's the
They're
difference between them
they're
having
supposed to be that good.
What's the difference between them having a rangefinder and going out there with a caddy book a week before and writing down all the distances from like this tree, that tree, like the PGA does? Like,
But what if you don't end up at that tree?
you can still reference your caddy book and go, okay, well, I'm between this tree, and I know the distance for this and this. It's called math.
Okay. So caddy books should be allowed. Rangefinders shouldn't.
Why don't we just cut out the bullshit and let people have their caddy books or their rangefinders? Excuse me. Like, that doesn't make
Why?
any sense. Like, why? Like, there's no point. Next
Okay,
thing you're gonna
if you
tell
go
me, like,
out and
hey,
do-
let's make them not wear headphones anymore because it doesn't look good. I've seen that hot take before, and it's like, guys, stop. Why?
Well, like, they're professionals. They go out, they do their practice round, right? So they know roughly what it is off the tee, where they want to land, roughly where this
But
tree
not even that.
is.
So let's take a let's
So
take
what
a
if
minute
they
here.
if they throw a bad shot and they don't have it recorded roughly where it is? Why help them? They threw a bad shot.
How many of these players are actually relying on that rangefinder to begin with? How many times have you actually
I see him. I see people use it all the time.
name one?
Kristen Starr. I've seen Brody use it. I've seen Yuli use it. Well, Yuli's also sponsored by them, so I can see that.
You can understand the product placement there. But still, like, how is that actually giving them any competitive advantage?
Is it though? All right, so I have horrible depth perception. A rangefinder literally changed my game because I'm looking, I'm like, that's about 200, and I range it on like 300. I'm like, oh wow, that's way off. So like, if you know your exact distance and you know exactly what you can throw, that distance, how is that not an advantage?
It's not an advantage. It's utilizing a resource available to you. It doesn't make any sense to take that out of the game. How many times have you had to change a hole last minute as a TD because something didn't pan out right, or a tree fell, or this, that, or the other?
Well, luckily I haven't had that issue yet.
Yeah, well, your course doesn't have
But-
trees, so that's a plus.
There's like 5 trees,
There's like 2.
4,
Close enough.
but still.
Still, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, Trenton, you got any input on this one?
So it's I can be the both sides of the spectrum, I guess. I don't think they should be banned, but I also think that you're going to see a lot more. And this goes to the podcast from another person, but this goes to like the am eyes, like just like he was saying, if it's 200 feet, but you think it's 300. For me, if I think it's 300 feet, I'm throwing a standstill raptor as long as the shot allows it. But if it's only 200, then that's a standstill zone. If I throw a raptor and I end up going long because I didn't check, then I'm gonna feel like a jackass. Where on the other side is, correct me if I'm wrong, I could look this up. But if someone were to ask you, I think it's the same rule as like a mini. If someone were to ask you how far of a distance that is and you have a rangefinder, you have to help them. Just like if someone says, "Does anybody have a mini?" If you have an extra mini, you have to give that to them. But on the same side of it, I've been caddy for a couple FPO players, and they'll be ranging something, and they won't say the distance out loud. How many times have you been with a group of 4 or 5 people and you're using your rangefinder and someone goes, "What'd you get?" and you say it out loud?
All the time.
That's also all the time.
All
Or
the time.
someone would be like, "I bet that's 240," and you're like, "Oh, 242." They're like, "Oh, I was close." And one got it closer. It's like, granted, we make a game out of everything, but
Yeah.
or like we do the Price is Right rules where you're like, don't go over, but we'll get the closest, and the winner gets
But at
whatever.
that
I don't
level,
know.
though, like it doesn't make sense to not carry those tools in your bag. That's like a mechanic going out to a job and
Mhm.
not having a wrench. Like, are you asking to fail? Like, do you want to suck? Like, what's going on here?
Right. Or maybe it could also be the same situation where if you're asking someone to give you a distance read, maybe you normally carry a bag and now all of a sudden you're in a cart and your rangefinder's in your bag that you don't have with you, or vice versa. I don't think they should be banned, but I also you don't see them being used as often on the pro tour because, for lack of another better term, they don't have the amateur eyes. They can look at something and be like, "Oh, that's 250 feet." Where they also have a lot of markers. A lot of the courses that the pros play aren't are way more equipped than the courses that we play casually. Where, okay, there's a boulder here that's a marker for 250. If this hole's 500 feet, then I know that I'm halfway there. Um, they have different landmarks. Like, my grandma never had a license, but she knew exactly what tree to turn at to get somewhere, just because it's
True.
repetition.
True.
So there's a bunch of different ways to look at it, and I don't lose sleep over it at night if they are banned, and I'm not going to sleep better at night if they are legal until the day we die.
Okay.
I like that. I personally say let the guys have the tools. I'm a big fan of having the right disc for the right shot, having the right tool for the right occasion. It's up to the players to prepare themselves. And if they're not carrying one, I feel like that's on them. That's if they're good enough to the point with their depth perception and they know these courses that well, because we all know we don't need rangefinders on our home course. We know what every little twig is at what distance. And a lot of these professional players are playing the same courses every single year with minor tweaks and, this, that, and the other. So that's how I see it. That was a good one. I thought that one's going to get a little worse.
I,
But
I was waiting for you to like kind of go like, oh, on it, but you didn't quite reach that level yet.
no, we haven't gotten that one. What do you got? What else you
Uh,
got? Let's take number two. I think we got what, 2, 3, 4 of these lined up tonight.
well, I'm only gonna do one a night. 'Cause I don't
One a
want to get
night.
you. I don't want to get you too fired up.
Oh,
You
it's not
know.
that bad. I'm not that old.
I do have some questions for Trenton if you don't mind.
All right, let's go back to that.
All right, so I have a few questions for you. First one,
Okay.
what is your favorite tournament that you've ever played in, and why?
Um, Gosh, and I've played, I want to say, tournament wise, at least 90 in the last 3 years. Just because, like I said earlier, Indiana has those charity events that I try to play. I was playing Saturdays and Sundays for the whole entire 3 months straight, 4 months straight. My favorite tournament, I would have to say, it wasn't even sanctioned. It was one of the first tournaments that I played in when I moved down to Indiana. We did a disasters recovery relief tournament for the Veterans for Vets down in Johnson County. I kind of spoke about it earlier, but um, Christine Jennings came down and did a clinic with Bart. Bart came down as well, and we were carded with them. We actually ended up only losing to them by a couple strokes, but like I said, it was worst shot. So they probably at that point played a lot of my shots because I wasn't that good back then. But I think the funniest, what made it the best, I think we're on hold like 14, and I got a call from the dealership because I was getting a new Jeep at that point, and I ended up making the deal in between throws of the tournament, and I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I just remember Bartos looking over and he goes, "Did you just buy a car?" I'm like, 2020 Wrangler, baby, let's go. They're just like, what the heck's going on?
That's
so
awesome.
I want to say, in terms of the funniest stories for a tournament, because that is definitely the best story that I have for a tournament. So I want to say, between the cause and the story behind it, that was probably my favorite one.
That's awesome. All right. Next question. What is your go-to disc or your favorite? Why?
Oh man. Can I make this yeah. Can I make this an easier question for me to answer and alter your question a little bit? Depending on the situation. So like if it's a short course, then you'll never not see a zone in my hand. But if anything's further than 280, then I'll just put a nuke in my hand. But it really just depends on the situation. I want to say, if there's one disc in my bag that I could not play a single round without putters, because putters is kind of, I mean, that's interchangeable. Um, I'm gonna go out of left field here and say my Raptor, because
Okay.
it can do what my nuke can do. It can do what my zone can do, depending on just how hard I want to ooga it downfield. Um, it's a great hybrid disc for how I play and how I want to play. So I wouldn't say probably my Raptor, which right now is a 2020 uh, Yuli Tour Series in my bag right now.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
one of four Raptors in my bag right now, but that's my favorite one.
Nice. All right. Last question from me. What is one thing, one piece of advice that you would give any new player? It could be anything, anything.
Um, and if anyone from Indiana that I've done, I don't want to say clinics because I don't teach them, because I'm only barely 899 rated. But I give out advice like I'm an old person giving out those strawberry candies. So don't get discouraged. Like if you expect to be 1050 after your first tournament, you're setting yourself up for failure. Um, like I said, I started in 2015. I thought a 250-foot, at this point for me, a 250-foot throw was an absolute crush. And now I'm like, oh, nope, it's not for me. I'm not trying to discourage anybody for if they think that, but don't beat yourself up for not being perfect right off the bat. And I always make a comparisons, like the whole cliche, like Michael Jordan got cut off of his freshman basketball team, or Tiger Woods hasn't made the cut here and there. Like Paul McBeth didn't get a world championship coming out of the gate. Ken Climo's first tournament ever wasn't his first of 12 world championships. I almost guarantee you that Babe Ruth's first at bat wasn't a home run. Just play. If you enjoy it, you're gonna get better. You're gonna want to get better. And if it's just a leisure activity, then keep it as a leisure activity. The best part about disc golf is there is no sense of the word how you should play. You don't have to play tournaments. You don't have to play leagues. You don't have to have the biggest arm in the world. If you just want to go out there with your friends and putt from 10 feet out and call it a day, then do that. That's the best part about disc golf. You can choose how you want to be happy and how you want to play it. So don't let disc golf dictate your mood for the day. You're in charge of it.
Awesome advice, man. Thanks.
Absolutely.
That that sums it up. Because I'll be 100% honest. Like, get done with the crappy tournament. I look at my round rating. I'm like, I remember when I would have been happy with that score. And that's just something kind of reflective on the car ride home. Like when you shoot like an 870 round, you're like, I remember point in my career, I would have been like totally happy with that. But that's pretty much it. Bobby, you got any more questions? Are we going into playoffs tonight, or what are we doing? Because we're barreling down 18th green right now, and we're losing sunlight.
Yeah. Let me see what I got here. I had a couple things. Right now, MPO. Who's number one?
Oh God, you're gonna make me fucking answer this one. Overall, like world, you gotta go Vinny, Calvin Heiberg. Come on now. Like, why are we even asking?
Ren?
No reason why Vinny shouldn't be number one still right now this week. We also, once again, we live in a sport or play in a sport where you don't have to win every single week to still be number one. It's consistency.
At least not anymore.
Not anymore. Yes. With all of us being amateurs, you guys know, there are some rounds where you're going to throw 900. There are some rounds where you're going to throw 750. There are some rounds where you're going to have 14 beers on a course and throw a 986 and not know how it happened. That was me on Thursday. I was like, I don't know what happened. They're like, what's your secret? I was like, lots and lots of PBR. They're like, what? I'm like, you can't remember the shot if you're already forgetting it as it's leaving your hand. I don't see Vinny not being number one right now.
Okay. I got nothing else for night.
He's been too consistent, and that's the thing. He's always there. He's always chasing down somebody. But you're getting these guys now that are starting to kind of fluctuate. And he's just a rock, man. He might not have the greatest day, but he's there.
He's definitely been the most consistent.
Yeah.
But I think he's had one finish this year outside of 20, and the rest of like all been podiums or something.
Oh, for sure.
Something stupid like that, yeah.
But all right, we're gonna wrap it up real quick here then, I guess. So end this off here real quick, guys. Do not forget, we still got patches for sale. If you want a patch, you can either email us at staff@militarydiscgolftour.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. We'll make it happen. We're shipping anywhere stateside, overseas locations. You guys can get them. Trying to do some more merch. What's the other big thing we got coming? Throwdown on the Hill, Camp Humphrey, South Korea is our next military disc golf tour stop. Still plenty of spots available for that one. I know all you PACF guys or Pacific Theater guys, if you want to show up to Korea, it's really easy to land in Seoul and catch a train down to Pyeong Taek. Man, love to have you. We got a boatload of cool players packs going for that one. I know, Bobby, you said your players packs were going over like hotcakes.
Oh, yeah.
I know we got some Ballista Pros in this time, some Rives. No, we didn't get Rise. I wanted Rise. We didn't get Rise. We got Ballista Pros, a couple of Anvils, a bunch of Rivers, some Claymores, some other good stuff. And then we got the Dark Ace towels, which are turning out to be way hot of a commodity, especially in the Dark Ace community. Yeah. If I got $1 for every time I get hit up about those damn things. But, well, other than that, guys, guess we'll see you next week for League. Peace.
Later.